It didn't take long for me to realize something about my rookie year. I wasn't just a rookie, I was a target. The cameras didn't show it at first. The headlines talked about opportunity, potential, new era, all those big words people like to use when someone young comes into the league with a lot of attention. But underneath all of that, on the court, in the paint, on every screen and every drive, there was a different story playing out, and it hit me way faster than I expected. I thought I was coming in to prove I belonged. What I didn't know was that a lot of people were waiting to prove I didn't. There was one game where everything shifted for me. Before that, yeah, it was physical, it was tough, but I chalked it up to, this is the pros, this is what it's supposed to be. Then came the first night where the physicality didn't just feel competitive, it felt personal. From the opening tip, every cut I made had a body on it. Every time I tried to come off a screen, someone was there to bump, hold, grab just enough to throw me off, not enough to get a whistle. I drove into the lane, went up strong, took a hit in the air, hit the floor harder than I was used to, and when I looked up, there was no foul called, just defenders already running the other way. I remember standing there thinking, okay, so this is how it's going to be. It wasn't one play, it was a pattern, an extra elbow during a box out, a screen where nobody even tried to hide the contact, a closeout that came just a little too late but just close enough to remind me I was being watched. That was the night I stopped feeling like the game was testing me and started feeling like people were. After a while, you start to understand why rookies become targets. It's not just random. There's a hierarchy in this league, even if no one writes it down. Veterans have been here for years, fighting for contracts, roster spots, respect. They're not just going to hand that over because you had a nice college career or because people like to talk about you online. If anything, the more the media hypes you up, the more some people want to see if you're really that good. It's like the league itself says, okay, you want to be the face? Let's see if you can handle being punched in the chest on a backdoor cut and still make the layup. There's jealousy sometimes, sure. When you come in with cameras following you and brand deals waiting, there are players who've been grinding for a decade without half that attention. You feel that energy, even if nobody says it out loud. And on top of all of that is the pressure you put on yourself. You don't just want to belong. You want to prove you deserve every word, every headline, every expectation. So now it's not just the league testing you. You're testing yourself every night too. On the court, it starts to show up in specific ways. Hard screens that feel a little extra. Like the point isn't just to free up a shooter. It's to see if you'll get up slow after you run into it. Plays where you're coming off a curl and there's a forearm in your ribs before you even touch the ball. You cut backdoor and catch an elbow on the catch that makes you bite your tongue. You think you're about to get a clean look, and suddenly your hip is getting checked midair, and your landing doesn't feel as safe as it used to. And then there's the talk. Not always loud, not always obvious, but it's there. A quiet, welcome to the league. A sarcastic, that all you got? A reminder after a missed shot. They did all that hype for this. Nobody has to name names or scream in your face. The message is clear. Every possession is going to be a challenge, and nobody plans to make this easy on you. People see the highlights and think it's just fun and fame. They don't see the emotional bill that comes with that kind of treatment. You go home after games like that, and your body is sore, but your mind is even more drained. You replay everything in your head. The missed shots, the turnovers, the possessions where you got bumped off your spot. You start wondering if you're doing something wrong or if this is just how it is. Your confidence, which felt so solid a year ago, starts to feel fragile, like one more bad game might crack it completely. The worst part is the isolation. Even if you have supportive teammates and coaches, there's still a part of you that feels like no one fully understands what it's like to be in your exact position, new, hyped, and hunted. You walk into your apartment or your hotel room, close the door, and it's quiet, too quiet. And then, because it's what everyone does, you pick up your phone. Social media doesn't care about context. It doesn't care that you're adjusting to a new system, new teammates, a new pace, a new level of physicality. It just sees numbers and moments. One clip of you getting knocked down, one shot of you looking frustrated after a no call, one box score where your shooting percentage doesn't match the expectations people had of you. Suddenly, you're scrolling through comments from people who have never been in a professional game in their life, and they're calling you soft, overrated, exposed. They're saying the league figured you out already. They're turning a rough week into a complete evaluation of your entire future. And even though you know you shouldn't care, it still hits you because you're human. Because a part of you wants everyone to see how hard you're trying, how much you're learning, how much you care. But the internet doesn't measure effort, it measures moments. There was a moment, though, where everything shifted for me, not on a screen, not in a comment section, but on the floor. It wasn't even some highlight play. It was one possession in a random quarter that most people probably forgot 5 minutes later. I remember bringing the ball up, and before I even crossed half court, there was pressure, full court defense, body to body, making me work just to get into the offense. I tried to use a screen, and the defender blew it up, went over the top, fought through like it was the last possession of the finals. I drove, took contact, kicked it out, swung it, and we ended up with a good shot. We scored. And as I was jogging back on defense, breathing heavy, I had this thought, if I was nobody, they wouldn't be doing all this. That was the first time I caught myself seeing the physicality differently. It still hurt. It was still exhausting, but I realized they don't chase players who don't matter. They don't design game plans around people they're not worried about. If I'm getting this much attention, it means I'm worth stopping. That thought didn't magically fix everything, but it changed how I processed it. Instead of thinking, why are they going at me so hard? The question became, what does this say about how they see me? That's when I decided I wasn't going to let being treated like a target break me. If anything, I was going to let it sharpen me. I started watching more film, not just of my shots, but of how defenders were guarding me, how they were trying to push me off my game. I studied how veterans I admired handled physical defense and pressure, how they absorbed contact, how they used angles, how they stayed poised even when someone was trying to rattle them. I spent more time in the weight room, not just to get stronger, but to feel like I could absorb hits and keep my balance. Instead of flinching at the thought of physical games, I started expecting them. I stopped looking at the refs every time I got bumped. I accepted that this is how it's going to be, and I chose to meet it head on. There's a point where you stop wishing the game was easier and start being grateful that it's hard, because you realize what being a target actually means. It means you're dangerous. It means when coaches meet in locker rooms and draw up defensive schemes, your name is on the board. It means defenders are told, don't let her get comfortable, make every catch tough, bump her early, wear her down. It means fans don't just watch you, they circle your name on the schedule. They buy tickets to see what you'll do and what teams will try to do to stop you. It means you're noticed. You're not floating in the background, blending in. People have opinions about you because they see you. They care what you do because you can change games. Once you see it that way, the frustration starts turning into motivation. Every time someone bodies you up, every time you get hit on a drive, every time someone talks a little extra, it becomes proof that you're a problem they're trying to solve. To future rookies, hear this clearly. If you come into this league with expectations, with hype, with a big role, you will be tested. Not just at a skill level, but at a heart level. Expect resistance. Expect nights where you feel like you're getting hit from every direction, physically, mentally, emotionally. Expect veterans to see how far they can push you. Expect some people to hope you fail because it makes their story more comfortable. But don't take it personally in the way that breaks you. Take it personally in the way that fuels you. Understand that this is how the league builds great players. Nobody becomes a legend because everything was smooth from day one. They become who they are because they kept showing up when it felt like the whole world was pushing back. So if you find yourself feeling like a target, remember this. Targets are chosen. The league doesn't waste that kind of energy on players it doesn't respect or fear on some level. Will it hurt? Yes. Will you doubt yourself? Absolutely. Will there be nights you go home, ice your knees, stare at the ceiling and wonder if you're cut out for this? Of course. But if you lean into the challenge instead of running from it, something shifts. Your game gets smarter, your body gets tougher, your mind gets stronger. You stop playing just to prove you belong and start playing to become who you're meant to be. In the end, I had to rewrite the story in my own head. At first, I thought they're targeting me because I'm weak, because I'm new, because they don't respect me. Now I see it differently. I wasn't targeted because I was weak. I was targeted because they knew what I could become. And honestly, That's a challenge I'll accept every single time.